Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about several considerations before you proceed with a breakup. I did a video a few days ago on 7 signs it may be time to break up with your boyfriend. And these are just things you should consider in addition to those things before you actually proceed with your breakup. Number one is timing. So this year is really heavy overall. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of death, a lot of trauma, a lot of injustice. And so it may be more humane to delay the breakup until this person is more stable emotionally. Now, in the interim period, it may seem a little unfair because of the way that they treat you during the interim period. If they're stressed out, if they're really hurting, they may be lashing out at you and you may not feel it's justified. So you should speak up about the behavior and let them know that, you could risk losing me. Don't just blindside them with your decision. Let them know that you could risk losing me. I don't like the way that you're treating me, so that they can wake up and adjust. But ultimately, if this behavior has been going on for quite some time, if you have felt this way before, they suffered any loss or trauma or, emotional upset, and this is just an addition to that, then really think about the timing. Think about, should I delay it for a little bit longer or should I proceed? If God is leading you to do this, if you feel like God has instructed you to leave the relationship, then timing is a little bit irrelevant, because the quicker you obey, the better. God may want to put this person in a rock bottom situation so that they focus only on Him. And God may also want you to Himself in this season to download things into you. We don't know the ways of God. The Bible says that His ways are higher than our ways and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And therefore we may not know, the end from the beginning. None of us know. And so you just have to trust that God gave you this word, and then you proceed. And then let God take you every step of the way from there. And I think, this isn't in my notes, but as a caveat, we have to let God really deal with people and stop thinking that we control everything. If I stay with this person, then they'll be okay. I think that's acting like the God in their life. Sometimes we have to leave people be to let God be God in their lives instead of us trying to be God. Now, I know I've been there where I felt that, I was this person's help, and if I left, their whole world would crash. But I was standing in a position I had no authority to be in, and I was allowing myself to be an idol in that person's life. I needed to let God be God in that person's life and let God take him through that journey, let God break him down to build him back up. I had no business staying there as long as I did when God was telling me to go a different way. And now He is a better person, a different person, and I am also a better person and a different person. But it took me getting out of God's way and getting out of his way, my ex's way. Number two, your method. Please do not break up with someone over a WhatsApp message. Please be more caring and considerate than that. At the very least, have a phone call. You can write a letter, but also always follow it, or an email these days, but always follow it up with a conversation. Of course, it's good to do things in person, but sometimes doing things in person may not be safe depending on the circumstances of the relationship. But at the very least, allow an actual conversation where they're hearing your voice to happen. Maybe it could be video where you're hearing each other and seeing each other, because this way you get as much closure as possible, if they don't hang up the phone on you or something like that. But this allows you to truly talk about everything and make yourself available even afterwards to talk about some things. So they may want to bring up, this situation, that situation at times. Obviously you have to have limits with this. There has to be respectful guidance with this, because you don't want someone always reaching out to you and kind of just causing more damage, especially if they have a toxic way of dealing with ended relationships. But sometimes it's good to leave the door open a little bit in the beginning for closure to take place, for them to ask questions, for them to reach out, not for them to beg you back, because that could lead to emotional manipulation, but just to get closure in the midst. Number three, their reaction. So you want to consider, all of the scenarios as far as possible that you can up front. So you want to avoid emotional manipulation. That's why you're doing this. I was in a relationship, and when it was time to end the relationship, this person said that he was about to go commit suicide and he stopped answering my phone calls. Now, deep down, I knew better. I'm like, no, I don't think he's going to do that. But I had a roommate of his check on him, and it turns out that this person just went to sleep. He just decided to go to sleep. He was perfectly fine. He just went to sleep. He didn't take any pills, didn't try to kill himself. He just went to sleep. He said that to emotionally manipulate me to get a reaction out of me, for me to change my decision. And so if you've already been grounded in your decision, then you need to know that these things are going to take place. They may say, they're going to commit suicide. They may, do the woe is me. No one loves me. No one cares about me. Everybody throws me away. They may bring your words up. Like, oh, you said you would never leave me. You're a liar. You're this. Like, you have to really anticipate a whole bunch of scenarios, because this will help you to know how to respond in these different situations, so things that get you off guard, so you don't be guilted back into the relationship that you have no business being in. But at the same time, when these things come up, their words or how they respond may get you to think about and consider things that you didn't think of before. You may start to think about how much you actually care about the person when you listen to them. But I mean, it comes with wisdom. Every scenario is different, and I can't speak to every situation, but I do think it's important for you to consider the reaction. But what I just said just now will go into my next point, which is to consider the consequences. So you need to ask yourself, am I ready to see this person with somebody else? A lot of times we break up with people and we think, oh, I could circle back and I could date them later on, or whoever is meant to be for me will be for me. Sometimes these people never come back around. And when they do come back around, or when, they're later in life and they're improved and you're improved, they won't want you. They are with somebody else. And so you have to really understand the consequences of your decision. I may never be with this person again. I may never marry this person. I may never have children with this person. The whole gamut. And then not only those things, I will never, I may never. You should also consider the soul ties that you may be walking away with. And you need to identify those early on. If you are, in fact, walking away with soul ties, how am I connected to this person? What makes me remember them? What things do I miss about the relationship? What do I miss about them? Why do I miss it? What do I need to reflect on? What areas do I need to grow in? Why is it that this feeling is coming up in me? And sometimes a lot of that is related to the sex that took place in the relationship. You may have to ask God to wipe your mind of the memories, especially moving forward. And so these are real things to consider, because you could be walking away from a relationship not heartbroken, but you may be walking away with soul ties that you actually have to consciously work through. And another thing to consider, sometimes in relationships, we end up thinking that, this person isn't God's best for me, and therefore I should leave them alone. Now, on the flip side of that is, you may not be God's best for this person. And especially when you see them, moving on in life, it may be hard to remember this fact, where you may think oh, why isn't he with me? Why didn't he change that with me? Why wasn't he more patient with me, more considerate with me, more caring with me? This relationship would have done so much better if he had been that way. But you need to understand that just like he wasn't God's best for you, you may not be God's best for him. And in wanting God's plan A for your life, you need to proceed with God's direction every step of the way. So if God is telling you it's time to break up with this person, if you watched that video before and a lot of those tips stand out to you as things that have been tugging on your heart and tugging on your heart, then it may be time to proceed. But you have to think about these things. Think about the timing. Think about the method of how you're going to do it. Maybe you have to take a friend who's there with you for safety. I don't know the situation. Hopefully you're not dating someone like that, where you ending the relationship puts your safety at risk. You need to think about their reaction, the ways that they're going to try to guilt you to stay in the relationship, and how you counter those things, and also the consequences. Am I really ready to not be with this person? Am I really ready? For some people, if you're in the same space, you have to consider what it looks like for me to get out of that situation. If you are, obviously in the same home, if you share children, you have to start to think about how this may impact your children. Your current livelihood, your friend cycles. You won't be friends with some people anymore. You may miss talking to his mom. His mom may cut you off. All of these different things need to be considered. It doesn't mean that they deter you from the ultimate decision, but it means that you should consider these things, because making a logical decision means that you look at all of the variables and then you come to your end result. So I hope this video helps you. Again, I pray for you if this is where you're at. No breakup is easy. I mean, some are easy. I've gone through some easy breakups, especially if you're the one doing the breaking up. But at the same time, they're work to go through and to heal yourself is never easy. Anytime you leave a relationship, there's work that needs to be done internally, and God takes you on a journey of self-development. And so I wish all good things for you. I pray blessings over you, and I pray for him as well that he will come into the fullness of knowing God, and that God will shower blessings upon him and continue to grow and mature him, and that he meets God's best for him, and that you likewise meet God's best for you. Right now, that may just be you. You alone may be God's best for you. You may be who God wants you to sit down with face to face and get to know, and that is okay. Be content in your singleness and truly, truly, truly love yourself. It's going to serve you as a parent, as a wife, as a co-worker, as a friend, as a sister. Being truly comfortable and confident and happy with you will serve you later in life. Love you and God bless. Bye.